everybody. Welcome to the Tea with Teaa podcast. Y'all, we are back today with part 2 of transitioning through friendships. So you know what that means. If you didn't catch part 1, go catch it. Pause this one and go catch up on that one because it's really going to be a great foundation for the conversation that we are continuing today. Well, I am not alone on today's episode. I got my girls with me. Y'all say what's up to my girls.
Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey.
Y'all let them know who you are.
I'm Brandy Chanel. Chanel.
And I'm Tasia.
Yeah, y'all, we've been having a great conversation talking about transitioning through and out of and into. I love that. Friendships. And so I love that. Let's pick back up on even transitioning into. Brandy, you said something really great at the end of the last episode, that even as we're transitioning out, you know, that we ought to give people the grace to tell them why, you know what I mean, or have a conversation. But maybe even before that conversation, as a friendship is budding, it's good to set expectations, you know. So let's kind of talk about transitioning into friendships, because we talk about out of, you know, what does it look like to transition into a friendship? That's a beautiful thing. So what you got? What were you saying about that?
So I was just saying that I think that it's important to know that friendship looks different to everybody.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So because of that, it's important that you set expectations for what friendship is for you.
Yeah.
If you're a person that wants, I know Tia is the come check on me friend.
Yeah.
Tasia is the come check on me friend, right? But if that's not
What
you,
friend are you?
I don't know. Y'all tell me, what friend am I?
Oh, wait, when you say come check on me, meaning we want that?
Yeah.
You are the come check on me friend too.
Yeah.
I think she wants that, but maybe not always receive that.
Because you are
What?
you want to be checked on, because when you're not checked on,
She lets it be known.
you feel
I want to
away.
be responded to.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you
you
are.
can respond.
I would agree with that. Yeah, she
You're
does.
the
You want to be responded to.
But then you text me back. All right.
You didn't
Because
see
that's
my
crazy.
message.
You didn't see that. You didn't
No,
see the
because
message.
my gigabytes are full.
That's crazy.
I'm the
Anyway.
guilty party in that,
so
y'all.
you are
I'm
the
the
we
guilty-
are the come check up on me friend. So it's like initiate, you know. You are the, hey, when I initiate something, respond.
At least
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Because I'm the friend that will check up on you.
She
For
is.
sure.
Yeah,
Hey,
she
you crossed
is
my
absolutely
mind.
that
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about you. If you don't
You didn't say I was thinking about you.
you don't care I was thinking about you.
Right? Because won't we make it something? Oh, you don't care.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't care. Got it.
Like, no,
Noted.
So you just gonna walk
I
up to
was
me and
rebooting-
act like you didn't get my text the other day?
I was
All right.
I was rebooting my phone.
So we just
and
gonna
it-
carry on like I didn't
get the
text y'all
mess.
yesterday. I texted you helpers yesterday and y'all didn't text me back. Well, with this group, you got to give them a week.
Ooh, okay.
Anyway,
Know your friend
what I was-
expectations.
expectations. Okay.
Got the expectations.
So what I'm
At least
saying
you know.
what I'm saying is, at least have the conversations, right? This is what friendship looks like for me. This is what I expect out of a friendship. Because you want to honor what they expect, and then you want what you expect to be honored.
That's
and
true.
the only way to do that is to share that. It's very unfair for us to expect things out of people that we've never expressed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So
That's good.
that's what I was saying about that before you transition out of, but also when you're transitioning into
Yeah, that's
a friendship.
good.
Yeah, I was watching this video to where, and I love that the girl that posted the video, she was talking about how her friend came to her and basically was just saying how, expressing how, you know, basically always gives her friends compliment. Her friend compliments, but her friend never compliments her. And so she let her friend let her friend know, like, hey, I feel like I always give you compliments, but you never give me compliments. And so the girl who never gave compliments, she was just like, oh, well, I didn't think anything of it. And so I think the girl who was the friend that was always giving compliments felt some type of way, or maybe felt like, I don't know, she wasn't cute, or maybe the friend was doing it intentional, which it ended up being that the friend wasn't doing it intentional. Like she just didn't know that that's what her
It wasn't
friend
important to her.
needed, right? She didn't know that's what her friend needed, but she did say that moving forward, she would be more mindful to make sure that she compliments her friend. And so I think that that's a perfect example of what Chanel was saying in terms of expectation. You can't guilt someone for something that, as you've already stated, something that they did not express.
You didn't give them opportunity to become that or be that for you.
And
Absolutely.
that's a great example because also that ties into love languages too, because
Absolutely.
we've talked about that too.
Yeah,
Like love
even
languages.
in friendships.
For me, absolutely. Because for me, I demonstrate a lot of, now I will tell you too, but I demonstrate what I want.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's to my detriment too. And I'm saying that to say,
yes,
she went out of her way to compliment her friend all the time. Her friend might not have even cared about that. Like, I don't even need that. I don't need that validation from you because I know I'm cute. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
So I don't value it the same way that you value
and
it.
that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you let
you let me know,
I value you.
I value
enough.
you.
Yeah.
I value you enough
to
to
reciprocate.
be mindful and reciprocate.
Yeah.
But I also value you enough to say, like, you don't have to do that for me.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that's what you like, and I will do my best to accommodate that. But I don't always need that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the friend did that to receive a compliment in return.
And that was my point. Because what I would like to
sometimes
receive,
that is
I'm
the
going
case.
to give to you, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking for that.
Yeah. And I was going to say, even, Tay, I don't know if this was said on the episode or the clip.
Yeah.
But, you know, if their friend was looking for validation, like, that's something deeper.
Yep.
You know what I
The
mean?
root.
Like, you can't.
For sure.
The root issue. Like, what is the root issue? They mess with me because I'm always talking about the root issue versus the leaf and the branch. But that is so true.
But
A lot
real.
of times,
It's a fact.
we deal with leaves and branches and we pick them and all of that. And then we're still dealing with something because you've not dealt with the root issue. You've not picked up whatever or plucked up whatever was going on at the root, at the base.
You're dealing with the surface
So yeah,
level
you're dealing
stuff.
with surface stuff,
it's
but
gonna
it's
grow
like
right
it's
back.
something more. It's gonna manifest in another way, you know.
A new leaf
But
will pop up.
a new leaf, come on,
With
new
the same
leaf.
root. From the same root.
From the same root, you know, same issue.
on.
And maybe even like worse, if you will. Like now there's more to it. You know what I'm saying? It's more things that's springing
Child, you done
off
spread
of
the
it.
whole-
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You done,
And
now
the
you done
more
messed up
I
other areas.
The more I validate you and not address the fact that, hey, this what is the root of this? The more we not talk about the fact that this is a problem that's below the surface, what is it?
Yeah, I love
And
it.
if I just continue to validate you, then where does that lead you? But also, where does that lead me as a friend?
And where does it lead us in our friendship?
That's called
Codependency, enabling.
That's the word I was
enabling.
looking for.
You know, it is. And I think
It
even
is.
with transitioning into friendships, like we have to be, I think I even want to back up because again, saying transitioning into a friendship, like I think it's okay to step back and say, maybe this is just an acquaintance.
Yes.
Maybe this is just going to be an associate. Like, let me make time to spend time to get to know you, to see
If
this is what this even is going to be and what I even want it to be, you know? I remember this was more on the romantic side, but a gentleman and I were having a conversation. This was a couple of years ago. And he said something along the sort of like, you liking me or, you know, you trying to, you know, like you want to be my woman or something like that. And I said, respectfully, I don't even know if I like you as a person. You know what I mean? And that shifted our conversation, but I mean what I said.
Respectfully.
Like, I'm just trying to see if I like you as a
We say
person.
respectfully right before we say some disrespectful.
Disrespectful. It might have been stern.
Respectfully,
It
I'm
was
saying
honest.
I like you.
But here's the deal. Well, hey,
Respectfully.
what you said
Get
was
out
out of
my
pocket.
face.
Okay, so let me
You disrespected
let
me.
me unwrinkle your jeans because you was out of pocket. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, but no, it's okay to step back and see, like, do I want this to be a friendship or is this budding, and give it time to organically grow. And you don't have to feel pressured because that person wants to be friends, because sometimes there is more weight on one side than there is on the other, and so you don't have to have a pressure of like, man, this person, I don't know, wants to hang out all the time, let me now do that. No, it's okay to have your boundaries. So let's talk about boundaries.
And I think-
So I was gonna say to that, that's why it's also important to have those conversations of expectation up front, because I can decide whether or not I want to engage in friendship with you.
For sure.
I don't listen. Okay. I got a whole 3 little people, some big people, a husband, a couple jobs, a side job, like
A church. Yeah.
If you require more than I'm able to give, it's unfair to you. And it's unfair to me. It's unfair of you to expect that from me when I got all this going on. But it's unfair of me to engage in that way with you knowing I can't give you what you're looking for.
And I think it's okay to have a conversation even about that. You know what I mean? And as you said,
Child, I can't be your friend. I'm just playing.
no, not even that you no, but you know, this is what friendship
really take offense to that, though.
Yeah.
People really take offense to that, though.
I'm not
for
your
real.
man. I'm your friend. Okay.
Like this is the friendship. This is what I'm able to give. You know what I mean? This is what I'm
in
not
a real way.
able to give. And it might not not even be the whole time, you know? Like I hear people say like, man, I need balance. And you all have heard me say this before. Like a principle I was taught and it's really helped me is I don't so much believe in balance as I do finding my rhythm, right? Mm-hmm. Because balance indicates that both things, if we're talking about two, both things are going to get the same part of me at the same time. Like it's going to be equal, but sometimes it isn't equal. You know, I think about you as a wife, mother, and all the things. If you have small children that are sick, date night might have to be put on the back burner today. We're not talking about all the days, or we may have to shift it to a day of the week. That means something has gotten off balance, but we are still in a healthy rhythm. That's right. And it's the same way when it comes to friendships. Absolutely. You know, like we have to find our healthy rhythm. We may not be able to talk every day or even once a month, but when we do pick back up, it's like we never stopped. It was like yesterday. It's like we just talked yesterday. You know, or we're intentional to say, because that's for me a love language is intentionality. Yes. I am big on giving gifts, but getting them, very thankful, absolutely. But it is not necessarily the thing that's making me be like, oh my gosh, I'm so loved. Now, if the gift is a very intentional gift, that's the part of it that makes me be like, they see me. They heard me.
She really thought
this She thought this through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the intentionality. And so even communicating that, but yeah, not having these unrealistic expectations of even how the flow of our friendship could look. Because I really believe that a lot of times with just one conversation, so many things that could go bad could be better.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. You know?
Agreed.
I was going to add to just the transitioning into friendships. I think sometimes based on how we introduce people perceive introductions.
Okay.
Like, if I say, hey, this is my friend Teaa, but you're not really my friend yet, me saying that, I feel like sometimes triggers.
Okay.
I don't know if trigger is the right word.
Associated expectations.
Right. Yeah. Associate. That's good. I like how you put that.
I just came up with that.
Associated expectations, because I introduced you as my friend, but actually you're my associate.
Do we not?
But now they're saying that.
Do we not feel comfortable saying this is my associate or this is Tay?
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say I think the problem is oftentimes we put a label on it.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, absolutely.
Yeah.
we put a label on it when it should just be like, hey, this is Teaa. Instead of saying, hey, this is my friend or this is my associate.
Yeah.
Or my colleague.
That can feel disrespectful.
Kind of like
this is my acquaintance.
That reminds me of, it's kind of like when you
my associate Teaa. Y'all are attorneys.
Y'all what? You're my paralegal. Okay.
Got it. It kind of reminds me of like, y'all seen like on TV shows and things like that when you're like dating somebody or you're getting to know somebody and then you run into people out
you waiting.
And you like, how
what they gonna say? What they gonna say?
And you ready. You lying to say like, this is my boyfriend so and then in his mind he like, boyfriend, wait a minute. We didn't
hold on, this date is over.
Or you waiting to let him introduce you first to see what
you want to see what he
like this is
that's exactly that.
Yeah,
because with that title comes expectations.
Absolutely.
Whether you've expressed what they are or not. And we have our own ideas of what those things look like, what those titles carry.
Yep.
And what comes with those. Go ahead.
No, you said when you even went into the part where you said what it carries, what it makes me wonder is to some degree, it doesn't have to be a big degree, but to some degree, have you put your identity in whatever I might call this? So
the title?
Yeah. So if you know, like there's a part of identity in that, because if I don't call you that, if you're not seeing yourself as that, if that's not a part of, or even a little bit of the identity, what does it matter? Like what's the issue if I don't say, you know, this is my friend, like, because I'm expecting you, come on, what?
Because that's good.
It's something there.
Yeah. You know, for me, and that's a thought, you know, as you were talking, it's like, man, what would make me feel a way about you not introducing me, if you will, as your friend? It could be nothing, but could it be, I'm just offering up a thought, could it be that there is some level of identity in that? Yeah. Could it be that being your friend in my mind means something for me? Again, that goes back to identity.
It could.
Does it make me feel rejected if you don't use the term friend? Like, what is it? And it may not be any of that. It just just, it may be, man, I sure been given a lot of what I think friendship is.
It's that.
But
It's
that
that.
goes
It's that.
back
It's that.
to that conversation,
That
you
y'all
know?
didn't have.
And even that,
and I was gonna say, yeah.
but even that sometimes may have to do with, if we go down to the root, identity, because you feel like you got to show up a way. Maybe you gave too much too soon. And because
That's
you
a
gave...
That's
Yes.
a word
You gave too much too
for
soon.
more than just friendships.
Can we pause
Okay.
for that?
Pause.
Yes, it's
Pause
a,
for that
You
word.
gave too much too soon.
you
Take it
gave too
in.
much too soon.
Yeah.
And so now, because there's no reciprocation at the level in which you think there should be, you're bothered, you feel disrespected, you feel rejected, you feel maybe even undervalued, when they're like, no, I value you.
I didn't even ask for all that.
I didn't ask for all of that. Grateful, but I didn't ask for that. Or, and I think something we have to do better with, in my opinion, obviously I'm saying it, even in transitioning into friendship, is asking people, how may I serve you?
Yes.
Like, what does a friendship, what does friend look like to you? Like, how can I be a better friend to you, a better sibling, a better spouse, a better leader, a better, pastor, whatever it is? Like, how can I be better? Because if you're articulating, then to me, that helps me know, then if I move in that vein, this is something that would bless them, and being okay with if they don't know yet, because everybody's not thinking there, and that's okay, but they may not know. But I think sometimes we're irritated with people's response or lack thereof, because in some shape, form, or fashion, to a degree, our identity has been somewhat attached to what they may say or not. Because I want to identify as your woman. So if you don't say that, that's an issue for me. I want to identify as your friend. So if you don't say that, I'm like, then what am I?
Yeah.
Who am I to you?
Yeah, because I remember there were many times with me and my best friend that when I didn't, like, if I introduced her as her name or vice versa, instead of saying like, hey, that's my best friend, so-and-so, or it was, I don't want to say issue, but
it was an issue.
I could tell that, they felt away.
Issue.
I could tell that they felt away. So, yeah. I would definitely say maybe like an identity, something there.
Yeah.
If not even like full identity, it's something
that's why I'm sitting here like
more that needs to be unpacked.
Because there is something there, I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, it needs to be unpacked, you know? Because in it, to me, that can be a little toxic. Like, why are you holding me to that? You know what I mean? Like, what about not saying that or saying that, however that could go? What about that makes it, here we go, this is what I want to say in this moment. Do I have to call you best friend because I can't have another one? Like, you need that title.
No, that's exactly
but maybe,
it.
We unpacked that before, though. I think you and I can't remember if it was on camera
all
or off
three of
camera.
us, both on and off. We can even talk about that. Like, as you're transitioning into friendships, do you feel the weight of what this could mean for other friendships that are still flourishing and thriving and active? But are we in a space where it's like, man, I mean, societally, are we in a space where I can't have multiple best friends or good girlfriends or, good guy friends and homeboys or whatever, we want to call them? Maybe everybody doesn't say best friend. I personally have shifted from that, because I think best friend sounds like, of the friends, you're the best.
You're the best one.
When I got like 15 of y'all. I get some dynamic.
Right.
That's never been my story. But I understand now, and I think I've said, privately, that now I feel like at my big age, I understand that I can have more than one best friend.
You can.
In my mind, though, growing up, and really, in reality, you were just the best out of all of my friends.
So,
and because you were the best, you got that title because you showed me that you were the best.
But what makes somebody the best?
At the root of the word best, it means...
Est? No, I'm just playing.
It means you are the best. You're here and everybody else is
elevated.
Not.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So... yes, the implication there is that there can't be more than one, because then you're not the best. You're just one among the rest.
And that's why for me, I've moved away from that.
Yes.
I have some dynamic
Same.
friends. I'm like,
I still say best friend, but knowing it,
I still use it, but I'm saying I understand that I can have multiples.
There's new understanding, and I think that comes with a level of maturity as well.
Yeah,
I think that the older I've gotten, first of all,
because it no longer becomes competition.
All relationships are just different.
Yes.
They are different. Now what you can say is that's my oldest friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I say my best friend from like middle school or best friend from high school.
Yeah.
Because that's true.
Because you had a different one in middle school and then you had a different one in high school.
That's later.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying. But I think it comes with a level of maturity.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there is no need to be in competition with anyone else. We all love each other, period.
Yes, we
and we are all giving each other what each other needs when we need it. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yep.
I mean, I playfully be like, if my best friend calls something, well, I don't even do that anymore, but it used to be a thing.
Yeah,
Same.
and that's real.
Yeah, it is.
Because
Yeah.
who is this?
And this is real, and that's
Never
you know,
met you, but hi, I guess.
Yeah, and this is real though, because someone is
No new
actually
friends.
Right.
yeah, someone is experiencing it, someone is dealing with that, and I want to be mindful that we're addressing it from that perspective. You know, like it is okay. One, I want the person who is looking, you know, to grow in friendship with someone, but wondering how it can impact another friendship. It's okay to have multiple dynamic friendships.
Absolutely.
It's okay to have multiple best friends, but I also want to talk to the person who may be a roadblock in someone else growing in other friendships because what you are entitled to. And I just
you
pray
think
that
you're
spirit of
entitled
entitlement, I just pray that would be shifted because it's okay. It's okay not only to let them go, but I'm just being honest. This is what I'm even hearing by the spirit for whomever hears this. Who you are is not wrapped up in who you've been with and to them. That you are more than that friendship, that you have more to offer. And so you don't have to allow your identity and yourself being identified, being connected to that. Well, man, who am I going to be if this isn't that anymore? Who am I going to be if this friendship isn't, you know, moving forward the way that it was moving forward? Whoever God created you to be, who he's called you to be. And maybe, just maybe, God needs to pull you away from that so that you could fully see who you are in him. Because apart from that vision, you're seeing yourself in them when God is saying, I need you to see yourself in me.
That's good.
You said something too that made me realize, like, the real part of, and the immaturity and not, I guess not maybe immaturity,
A
but
level of immaturity.
the reason why I or anybody would get or feel away when their best friend announces somebody else as their best friend is because of what I expect of a best friend, right? What comes with that. In my mind, you can't give me what I've been used to as a best friend and give them that.
Okay.
So I'm projecting on what I think I'm about to lose because you're now about to give more of yourself to someone else. And so now I got a problem with it.
Yeah.
Or have I been demoted?
Or have I been demoted? That's not possible. No, I'm just playing. but that's the thought process behind it.
Yeah.
That's the part that we don't really see initially in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Because you just like, that's my best friend, but you're not understanding that really the reason you're saying that is because you know that they're now going to be giving a part of themselves to someone else, and you
They have to share.
feel
and
like
you don't want to share.
You're gonna lose something. But the reality is that the relationship is the relationship.
Yeah.
We are still what we are to each other, whether we spend 10 minutes together or 10 hours
For
together
sure,
or
that's-
10 days together.
Identity is this.
Yeah.
This is a lot of identity stuff.
It is.
Yeah,
It really
you're
is.
right.
It
Like, and I'm not saying this isn't real. I was gonna say normal, but I don't know if it should be normal. But I'm not gonna say that it's not real or become a normal thing or normal for us to experience, because we do. But as we're talking about it, because we've all been there in some shape, form, or fashion, it's just like, man, that's some identity stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's to me so far the revelation or the thought process that I have right now is the root of that is identity. Like, what about you being good friends, best friends, dynamic friends, whatever friends with that person would cause me to think that what we have is going to be threatened or of a lesser value. And when I say what about it, I'm not saying there's not a real thing. I am saying, does it have something to do with my identity? And so that's just really good, identity. So anyway, come on, what y'all got? Been saying some great things.
You never really think about these things. You don't think about the thoughts behind it. You just that's how it's been. And so I'm your best friend, period.
Yeah.
How dare you?
That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's
and you don't ever think about like, wait a minute, now why am I so offended? Or why am I so, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like grade school. If I'm recollecting correctly, I feel like there was like a thing, like almost like a audition or like a competition to be someone's best friend.
Wow.
And so when you put it like that, growing up, you grow into that, right? And you take on these things that you've learned over the years, not realizing that they're immature. Like we were obviously like kids. Like, come on, kids gonna be kids, obviously. But over time, it's something that you may not unlearn, or you may not realize. Like, this is really toxic.
Yeah.
Transitioning out of toxicity.
For sure.
That's something.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize you're in it first. And a lot of times it's hard to see. Especially when you've dealt with it for so long, or you've experienced it. Listen, y'all be trying to struggle to figure out what my toxic traits are, because everybody got them.
I was gonna say,
sometimes it takes someone leaving you, though, in your toxicity for you to realize that that you're actually toxic.
Yeah, let's be practical. What are some things that people can look at if they're saying, man, am I in a toxic friendship, or am I toxic? Like, what are some practical things that people could ask, questions maybe that they could ask themselves, or traits that they could look for, whether that be about enabling or codependency, anything like that? Any thoughts there?
I think that when talking with other people about your relationships, noting their responses to your conversation, right? Because a lot of times what we think is normal, we'll be saying around somebody else and they'll be like, that ain't what? You know what I'm saying? Because again, like I said, you've been in it for so long, you can't even recognize it. But if you are engaging in conversation with other people and just talking about, so me and my homegirl the other day was talking, and this happened, and she said whoop de whoop, and then your person you're talking to will be like, wait, she said what?
Hold up, now, huh?
Now, huh?
That's not
She texted you like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so just being, that's the most practical tip in my opinion, is to be mindful when you're having conversations with other people, how they react to the things that you're saying about how you interact with other people.
And I think with what you said, going back to something we said in part one of this particular conversation, not romanticizing toxicity. And so I think
said that.
even and so I think even with being open or hearing what someone else may say, or their response to what they've heard you say happens in another conversation, got to be open too. Like sometimes we're not teachable. Yeah, we're not teachable, or we're in a heart space to hear someone say about another person that we love dearly, like, hey, that's not good. And I heard someone say before that sometimes we can love people so much that we miss the toxicity. We love them so much that we excuse it. We love them so much that we bypass or enable it. We love them so much that we don't even see it, you know, and it takes someone else seeing, because there's a me that we don't see.
Absolutely.
All of us have that.
All of us.
And so we have to have people around us who we trust to see the me that we don't see, and then call it out and hear, or at least
not be offended
process it. Yeah, and not be offended. You know what I mean?
And that's too, not to say, because everybody is different, right? Because again, you said everybody has a me that we don't see, and the people who are listening to what you're saying also have that. So we all have our own lenses, we all have our own biases, we all have things that we're dealing with. And so they may be in a situation and be like, I would never deal with that, but that may be a root cause to why they would never deal with something like that. So all of that, you take it in, and I want to say chew the meat and spit out the bones, right? But what I am saying is, when people have a reaction to something that you say, just take note of that. And really evaluate it. It may not be that your situation is toxic, but it is worth looking at and evaluating if someone is, if someone has that type of reaction. What you think, sis?
Yeah, I think that's good. I would say set a boundary, or
Oh, child, we didn't even get on.
Yeah, what's a boundary? What's that look like? Set up, I'm saying real spill, because we don't
saying yes when you really mean no.
Yeah, it's okay
or
to say
when you
no.
want to say
or
no,
when you want to
don't
say
mean
no,
but you want to say no.
Yeah,
I'm still working on that.
Saying no when you actually want to say no.
Yeah,
and only saying yes when you actually want to say yes,
and have the capacity to say yes.
Because sometimes we say yes and we really just don't, and it's not that
and
we don't want
firm
to do
in
it.
The yes or the no, though, because I think a lot of times we'll say yes or we'll say no, but then we'll double back, and potentially
double back is crazy,
end up inconveniencing ourselves to dishonor the fact that you said yes or no.
Right.
you're dishonoring yourself, and you're allowing the other person to really disrespect a boundary that you put in place. So twofold disrespect, I would say. You're allowing them to disrespect
whammy.
a double whammy. You're allowing them to disrespect you.
A twofer.
You're allowing them to disrespect you because they've crossed the boundary that you set, but you're also disrespecting yourself by allowing them to
firm in your boundary.
Yeah, you have to be firm.
Yep, you have to be firm in your boundaries.
And firm does not equal mean.
No,
not at all.
No, it doesn't mean that, but you do have to be firm and stern. I love that.
What's something practical that you would say is?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
It was your question. How do you some practical applications for toxicity and recognizing
to recognize toxicity?
Oh yeah, to recognize it. I love what you all have said. Like I agree with that. Like I think one of the things that you said was, again, because there's a me that we don't see. When someone brings it to you, listening. And so then here's the piece that I would add to that: asking questions.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask a question. It's okay to get understanding.
Questions.
Yeah, it's okay to ask a clarifying question. I know I'm good for that. You have a question, okay? And get understanding. Amen. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to say, hey, what did you mean by that? Hey, and I think something is important, even as you are asking questions, that you ask I and me questions and not you questions, meaning, what did you mean by that? Because when you said and repeated back, if you would, I felt, versus you made me feel, because they didn't make me feel.
Ultimately, perception is reality.
You know what I mean?
My perception may not be your perception.
Yeah, and so, but
and that's okay.
Yeah, just asking questions. Like I just think, even if I'm if I'm with the person who is saying, hey, I don't think how that person is speaking to you is okay. Well, can you help me understand? Like, again, asking questions. Like it's okay to ask questions. And I think at the end of the day, no matter what you call it, Holy Spirit, your gut, a voice, whatever, trust that. Trust it enough when something feels off. Trust it enough to evaluate. It doesn't mean you have to retreat, but I do think you should reflect.
That's good.
For sure.
That's really good too.
I think just to wrap everything up in a bow, that what we can say is that in all transitions, I think communication is key, whether that be communicating with yourself, Holy Spirit, the other parties involved.
Yes.
You have to communicate.
Yes.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's so very good.
Yeah.
This has been good, y'all.
Yeah.
This has been good.
This has been good.
Do you have anything before we head out of here?
No, I don't think we touched on communication, but I guess maybe navigating like someone who's not a good communicator in a friendship.
Okay.
Teaa always says that communication falls on the communicator, not the communicatee.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, I find it very interesting.
Have you always agreed? That's something.
I never thought about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Honestly,
I was just curious.
Yeah, I never thought about it until she said it, and I was like, oh, well, then good. So y'all been doing it wrong, not me. Got it. But no, again. In all seriousness, because I think it's funny. Like, this is the red flag. Okay. If someone is adamant about the fact that they are a good communicator, but people around, who told you?
Who said?
Who said? Because if I'm saying that what you're trying to communicate, I did not receive, for me, you're not a good communicator.
Or you're not communicating
well. And what's the qualifier for
Mm-hmm.
you? Like, who told you you're a self-proclaimed good communicator? That's a red flag.
Yeah, and I think even determining what is a good communicator, for me, when I say that, and that's a principle that I was taught, right? Communication falls on a communicator. I did not come up with that, but when I heard it, I grabbed a hold. And so with that,
and share the wealth.
You hear me?
I say it now all the time.
Yeah. And so, but it is, I learned that several years ago, and I agree. And this is why I agree. Have you ever been in a room, I don't know, let's say it's some kind of a training, whatever. And the person communicating says not even so much, but they say things in such a way where they're like, any questions? You like, I got it. I'm good, boss. is because of how they communicated.
They did so well.
They thought it through in such a way where they did their best. Doesn't mean they did all, but they answered every question that they thought might come. They anticipated. That's a mark of a good communicator, right? I think another mark of a good communicator is one who is willing to be flexible. You know, while obviously me working on a college campus, something that I see practically that I think is a really good tool spiritually is that for one math class, there might be 6 different teachers because everyone doesn't learn the same.
Right.
And everyone doesn't teach the same.
And doesn't teach the same. And so the the mark of a good communicator is someone who can say, hey, I'm communicating in this way, and because you're not getting it, I'm willing to shift. And that doesn't make me, you know, let me say it this way. I say this often. We are multifaceted people.
Yes.
How I communicate with my 5-year-old niece is not the way that I would communicate all the time with my 18-year-old nephew, or with my girlfriends, or with my spouse, or with my church members, or whatever that may look like. And so I think another mark of a good communicator is someone who is willing to be flexible and who is willing to say, hey, the goal here is not that I'm talking. The goal is that you are understanding. So if in the way that I'm talking this go around is not bringing you to a level of clarity and understanding, I'm willing to navigate and go somewhere different. There's always more than one way to get to the number 4. Maybe your goal was 2 + 2 because that was the easiest route, but you could do 5 - 1. You can do 16 - 12. You know what I mean? Like you can do 3 + 1. There are multiple ways to get to the end goal. So I believe, again, a mark of a good communicator is someone who is saying, hey, this isn't about me. I'm talking, but the goal is that there is understanding and alignment with whom I'm talking with. So if I got to do it differently, I'm going to do it differently. If they're not willing to do it differently, you need to reevaluate that.
Yeah.
Even within yourself. If you're not willing to reevaluate even how you talk to you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you're talking to you toxic, if you're talking to you in a negative light, like if you're not willing to stop that or at least go on a journey to stopping that, there's some things that need to be reevaluated.
I agree with that because I will say, like, you can tell when people are receiving or aren't receiving something that you're saying. One of the things when I'm communicating with my soon-to-be 12-year-old son is, what am I saying that you're not getting? How can I tell you, like, what can I do to make you better understand? Asking questions about how the person can better receive what you're trying to communicate.
And not getting upset that they don't understand.
Them,
okay, what did you hear me say?
Yes.
What did you just receive from what I said? And
let them say it back in their own way. Don't regurgitate.
Correct.
So don't say it how I said it. Thank you for that. You were listening, but what did you hear?
Yes.
I need you to say it the way, what did you hear
your
me
understanding.
Say? Yeah, what's your understanding? That's so good. And I think it's okay to even ask people that in conversation without it coming off demeaning or demasculating or what's the word I'm looking for, no matter, you know, who you're talking to.
Condescending.
Yeah. Like, I promise I'm not trying to be condescending. But again, if we weren't taught certain ways to communicate or healthy communication at all, a lot of things could come off that way, which is why I think, and Brenda, you said this maybe earlier here or in the previous episode, but it's important to show each other grace.
Yes. Absolutely.
And to make time and spend time. If we got to be here 3 hours to get it, I'm making time for this. Now, that may not be every conversation. I need you to get it in 2 minutes this time. But the next time.
Baby, you got 60 seconds.
You got 60 seconds to understand. Okay, 60.
And wrap it up.
And 1, 2, 3. Like, I'm going to need you to get it. But no.
You at 55.
But for real, making time, because I think that shows the importance and the value not only of that conversation, but of the person that we're talking with.
Absolutely.
You know, because again, and I think, you know, with communication, we have to decide what is the goal. Is the goal for me to be right? Is the goal for me to be heard?
I ain't gonna cap a lot of times.
Is it for me to be for us to be in alignment?
Especially if I know I'm right, baby.
But again,
at what point do you walk away? Yep.
Yeah. Because it's what's the goal? Like, what's the goal in my talking right now? If it's in me being right, that's probably gonna be some. You know what I mean?
And we're not gonna get anywhere.
We're not gonna get anywhere. Not anywhere fruitful.
Because I know I'm right and you think you right. So.
Yep.
So you got to pinch yourself.
The know and the think is what's causing issues. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, y'all, this has been good conversation. Yeah, this has been really good. I really enjoyed having you all here. Thank y'all
you
for
so
being
much,
here.
Teaa, for having us. It's been a pleasure.
I love you all so much.
We love you too.
Well, you all, we have spilled the tea today on transitioning in, out of, into friendships. This is part 2. So again, if you didn't get to catch part 1 of this conversation, be sure to check it out. And just know this, that and we we've said this before, that you have the space to evolve even in your transitioning, you know. So show yourself some grace, and know this, that even as you are transitioning, whether that is in or out of a friendship, all is and all will be well.
Yeah.
So hope you've enjoyed this particular episode. I hope you got all the tea that you came here for, some transformation, encouragement, and application. I'm your girl Teaa. This is B. This is Tay. And we are out of here. I'll see you all on the next episode. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.